Just softening it now. A little bit brighter. I want the edges to be nice and soft. And put a little bit of warmth in some areas. Oh, not that much warmth though. Okay. Okay, now we're getting there. So this is a bit better. So what I'm going to do in a moment, I'm just going to create the reflections by drawing it up and into the water. So I'm just being a little bit cautious of where I'm laying things down here. I want some outreaches to be just barely visible and no more. Just a little bit of a crop out, you know, as it were. So I'm going to get a nice soft brush and I'm going to just drag this up. There we go. Now, I've done the old thing that I always do. I've created 3 things in line there. So let us fix that. I don't like that habit. So, and I find it a hard habit to get out of. Okay. But, didn't mean to shout there, but I am aware of it and I do fix it whenever I see it. And that's a good thing. So let's just work this in here. There we go. Hopefully you can begin to see this come together, folks. Now up here, I want to wipe that out. It was far too bright for what it was. It needs to be duller and cooler for sky holes, you know. Right. Duller and cooler. Okay, let me just see. I think I might have the color that I want here. Kind of very close to the color for the sky, but not quite. And when the time comes, I'll put some tree in that. So I'll put some tree in it. Is that too bright? I'll just bring it back a little bit. While I'm here, I might as well work this in while I'm here, and I'll leave this. I'm not going to make any decisions yet on this tree. No, not yet. Softening these edges here. Okay, now I want to put some of the sky in the edges here. That's too much. That is too much. Actually, I just wiped that off so I can just push this around, and that'll be good for it. So it will, yeah, that'll help it a bit. Nah, I know I've just ruined what I was doing there, but that's the nature of it. Just softening this edge here. going to do now, I'm going to work on putting the brighter part of the sky in. A nice yellow to white. In here, look at that, nice and bright, eh? Lovely and bright. Too yellow, far too yellow. I am going to have to clean my palette. I think it's becoming a bit too messy. A bit more white as well. I think I'm just a bit too yellow. Now you see how handy this will come in a second. What I'm going to do here, I'm just going to, it's too yellow at the top, so it is for me. I'm just going to blend it on the palette. There we go. Too yellow up here for my purposes. Now I'm going to have to change brush and get a nice soft brush, because I'm going to put in almost pure white. Actually, I'm going to put in pure white and then let it mix on the canvas. So let's see. There we go. Look at the difference. Just shows you. You think that's very bright, but it's not that bright. The yellow around it. I mean, there's pure white. That's what pure white looks like. That's cool now. Now I'll just use this to go in here. And now I'm going to bring in the yellow into it. But I'm going to be quite gentle with it. I'm not going to be too... yeah. I'm not going to completely cover it, but I am getting there, little bits at a time. You see, it's still bright, but... And then I will use some more just up and around here, just for... create some variance in the sky here. Now this is going to be the brightest part along here, because it's kind of reflecting down here. So it's going to be the brightest area. And then whenever it's dry, I'll put a lovely white spot right in the middle of it, and then reflect it here. Okay. Now I'm just going to come into here. Well, we'll be checking. I'll probably make it a wee bit greener and thin as well. It's going to be a thinnish wash here. And it might be too much on the brush. I just want to soften the edges of this. And then I will come into it with some what do you call it? Leaves and trees and whatnot. Okay, now this is softening it quite well, actually. Really doing the job here. Okay, now just knock this back a little bit. Where's my little brushes? Alright, now let's put in some leaves and whatnot into the sky here. Boom, boom, boom. Just checking my levels here. And now I need to a little bit of oxide red in it. Let me see what that looks like. A little bit redder, I think, a little bit more orange in it. A little bit red in it. I'm not going to be too throwing things at the wind here. That might be too dark. I'll do a few more and we'll see. Oh, that's fine, actually. It may not be dark enough. I'll have to come in behind it, I think. Come in behind it and let me just check on what I'm doing. Okay, I'll come in behind it here. Nice. A nice dark green that has been warmed. Now let me see what that's like. Yeah, I think that's nice. Okay, now let me roll this in here. Am I too bright here? I don't think so. This will help me up here with this lot up here, eh? Most of this is going to be tree up here. Just with the odd peekaboo. You see that now? Okay, now let's just work this in. I think it's a bit too dark. Just use what's on the palette to help lighten it out. Nice and rough, folks. But at the same time, as you can see, I'm just trying to, although I'm being rough, I'm still trying to be careful. It's a hard, sometimes it's a hard balance. It's hard sometimes to describe to people exactly what you mean by that. So let's go for these sky holes again, see if I can get them to work. Maybe a touch brighter in certain areas. Just here, bump. Another one here, maybe, bump, bump. And we'll leave it. Now this little outcrop here is going to be part of the tree that's coming up here. So if you're wondering what I've done there, that's what that is. So what is left for me here for the time being? I think I will put in the tree up along here, and I will use, what brush should I use? I think I'll just continue using this. I want the same colors as it were. Well, let's put this here. Let's I'll darken it a little bit, because I don't want it to be the same color as the sky there. So a little bit darker, but not much. Just enough to differentiate it. Put a little bit more red on it. Okay, enough to slightly differentiate it. And I think that's too bright, but we'll see. Now let's just go up into the sky here. Okay. I don't want to do too much in the way of canopies coming out of this just yet. I don't. Because why? Because why? Because there's still work to be done. Okay, so let's put in some canopies here. Not at the top, but just along the bottom here. Let me see what this looks like. Okay. I think this one is coming a little bit too far. A little bit more of a greeny color. Not much. It's hard to see on the palette, but there is a significant change there. Right, there's a silhouette down at the bottom here between this hedgerow here, this row of trees, and this, and a bit of this here. This canopy coming out. Okay, so now I'm just going to blend this in and maybe see how much of my finger I can use here. You have a bit more control with your finger, I find. But sometimes it's so wet, using your fingers, almost impossible. Now I'm just going to blend the edges here. Okay. Now a bit darker in certain areas. Bringing this over to here. Now, you might think, well, now you've covered up the tree that you put in. Well, as I say, everything is relative. You know, and whenever I put the tree in, it allows me to see where the branches go. Even if I cover up the tree as I'm going on, it allows me to see where the canopies and all are. And then I come in and replace it. And because of it, I can just come in and do a wee bit here and a wee bit here and so on. I don't have to put the entire tree in or the entire trunk in. Now I'm just going to wipe this off and refill in that, doing that sky again. I just came out a bit too far there. Oh, there we go, easy enough. Now imagine that color, it's here somewhere. So it is here somewhere. And I will just use a little soft brush here. Okay, let me see. I believe that this might be close to it. No, that is too blue and too dark. Let me see this here now. Same again, too blue and too dark, so a little bit more orange. There we go. Right, let me check on it now. Ah, there we go. That's good now. Just a bit dark actually, but I'll blend it when it's down. Here, there we go. Just work that in. You won't even know that was patched, as it were. Patched is the wrong word, but you know what I mean. There we go. Nice and gently. Okay, I'm just going to work that in a little bit again with my little softy. Nice and gentle. There we go. Now I want to work in this, I want to soften the edges of this. So, which I almost forgot to do actually. Let's just start in this at the edges here. I don't want to go too close just yet. And then I'm going to work in towards the edges here, just to get that nice soft gradient. And I'm being a wee bit more firm with my touch here. I do want that stippling effect. There we go. That's lovely and soft now. And look at that, the way that's popping. Okay. So I think I'll put in some canopies here. And what will I use? I think I'll use a dagger knife. I kind of just want it to be a nice soft canopy coming across here. And I don't want to put too many in because there's going to be tree trunks here and there and darker areas. So what color am I after here? A nice darkish green. Now this is just a dagger brush. It's a cheap dagger brush. A Roseman Co. 1/4 inch Shiraz. I don't think it's that cheap now. A nice dark green to lay down the foundation, of which there will be. Is that dark enough? I need to redo that. Is that dark enough? Yeah, I think so. So let me just play with this now. I can soften this in a second. And there'll be a nice tree coming up right along here. So I'll put in a nice bit of canopy just behind it there. As I say, there's not too much. I don't want to put too much canopy in this at the time being. I think that's too bright, so I will be knocking this back a touch. And I think maybe that'll do it. Yeah, look at that. That's a terrible shape for a canopy, isn't it? Let's just work this in. And then reshape it with the darkness and some highlights. Oh, let me just work this in. That's good. That's better. There we go. Now we have canopy there. I'm going to just signify a large tree here. Now, I probably need a bigger one than that. All right, so here, where to start? Where? I think about here, maybe. Okay. Right, so put in the darker side of this tree first. A nice reddish grey. I'll be using this transparent. And then the green to really knock that back. And I'm just going to use what's down here to darken it. Might as well use what's on the palette, folks. But I do want to be able to see it. Here, see this area here, I think it needs darkened a little bit more. So that's, let me see, No, you can see that, but I will brighten it a little bit more. Okay, so a nice tree here. Nice and straight too. I'll have the odd little twist and whatnot in it, but overall, a nice and straight tree. And to a point. There we go. I think maybe I'll thicken the base of it a touch more, so I'll just come down and then slightly lean. Either way you fancy. I'm just going to lean to the right there. And I'll thicken the base. Now I want another one in here. Just here, and it's barely visible, this one actually. Okay, so now these rocks climb up into here a little bit, but they're very dark, barely noticeable. And I'm going to have a wee light popping through here, just to tell a story. Nice wee orange light popping through this area. But until then, let me put in some more of these rocks. Okay. I want to put them up in here, but I want this to be quite dark, barely to see them. Just here, 2, and a bit too bright. Just here. Whenever I take the photo of this will all make sense, and you'll see it then. So you will, and I want a couple more barely visible trees. It will cut through this, and I will darken this tree. Oh, I don't want it too dark to begin with though, but I will darken this tree soon enough. Whenever I'm glazing this area around here. Okay. And I'm just going to wipe this out because this is where I want here the light popping through. Just there, a little bit there. And I think I'm going to put in a really bright orange of this now. Make it glow a little touch. And I will scumble it on. Whenever it is dry, but I'm just putting it in now. Just to get that light in there. And another little one up here. And then I will scumble the glow into it whenever I get the chance. Okay. Let me see where I am here. Let me put this in. Make sure that I mark for it straight down here, and then it's going to be dark, so you should see it somewhat, or a bit darker than that. Okay. Now, I want another wee glow in behind here. I quite like the look of that glow. So let's just wipe some of this off. Here and here. This will help So help me put down the orange. Oh, that's falling apart. Give me a... Right. Okay. Now, where is my orange brush? There. A bit of a deeper one this time. Now that's indicating that there's something up there. Whenever I'm able to scumble it in and create a glow, it will look the part. But I'm going to put in the highlight of the tree here, just down the side of it here. A nice orangey tree here. And that'll do for the time being. On that, at least. So pretty much the same on the on this one here. I'm going to put it in, even though I may cover it up again. Right. And then now that's just work what we have here, putting these in. Now there's a highlight here for this one because the light is on this side of it, and then there's another nice strong highlight on this one here. I think I'll make this tree a bit thicker. And that'll do for the time being, just to give it that highlight. Okay. Let me just mess around with these skylights up here. Didn't like the edges on those. Okay. Right. Where am I now? Yeah, this area here needs darkened a little bit more in certain areas. I want that to pop a little bit more. I'm putting the better skylights. This area here needs fixed up. But not too much. You know, it's off in the distance here, so it is. But I do want it softened. So let me just see if it's still wet enough to be softened. It is, aye. Maybe I'll just darken it a little bit more when the time comes. And now that the masts of the ship, the masts of the boat are going to be coming up here, and then the reflections of them will be coming down here. I'll have I'm not actually sure what you call it, that comes off the end of the boat. So I think I'll lay down just a little bit of color on the boat here. A nice gray brown here. Use some raw umber. A little bit of red just to put some heat in that, so that it's a nice warm color here. So let me see where we are. I think a bit darker than that maybe. Let's see. Let's just I'm unsure. I'm just playing with this at the minute, folks. Right. I'll just lay this down for now. Nice straight edge here, which will be getting cut in with a knife as soon as. Just create this along the top here. I'm just reshaping the boat here is all I'm doing. I want to brighten it a little bit, just for myself. I can come along. Oh. Know where the edge is. Alright. Now, I want a nice dark phase of it on this side. I'm just wondering, am I red enough? Yes, nice and dark there. I want to create just the tip of this here, right across the top there. And then bringing that up to here. Which will be highlighted when the time comes. And then just bringing this to here. There we go. Now it's going to need to be a little bit brighter than that, but that's fine. I'm okay with it for the time being. Or am I? Should I lighten it? I think I'll lighten it a little bit. Just a little bit, folks. Now I want to put a nice dark ridge in here. Just along here. To meet this here. Okay. Now, let me see. This a bit warmer, a little bit redder. Bit of heat in it here. It needs to be a bit darker. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to gently put in a little highlight along the ridge of this, but I need to find my little round brush to do such a thing, and I can't see it. Where are you? I'm nearly positive I was using it. It is here somewhere, folks. And there's one. Push it all to the side. I'll tell you what, I'm going to hit pause here. Alright, folks. Couldn't find that one, so just going to have to make do. Don't know where it went. Off it went. But I'll just highlight this for the time being. So here's a hint. If you're wanting to make a curve, make it with straight lines. I know it sounds counterintuitive for curves, but it helps. Just little jots, like just making sure that that brush is, this is too thick. I think this brush, it is too thick. I can't find my little brush. It's very frustrating. I've spent the last 10 minutes looking for it. Anywho, it is what it is. And I want it to, it behaves the way I want it to behave. Right, but anyway, let me see, just nice straight lines. But my goal is to end up over here. Okay, now I've done that. Now a little bit brighter for the top one here. So it's coming, it has a bit of a bow in it. Comes up a little bit, and then comes down a little bit. And then out a little bit. Now this comes well into this part here. There. And I'll actually highlight the front part of it here. And then I think I'm going to call it a day, and I'm going to go looking for my wee brush. Again, wherever it went. And what we'll do for the time being, I'm getting thrown off a little bit. Right, I'll be back soon enough. Alright folks, I'm going to revisit this one today. Now, I'm going to darken this area down here a little bit in certain areas and make that light glow on some pieces of land that's here. But the main job today is I'm going to redo this sky. I'm just going to change its tone a little bit. I'm not entirely happy with it, but it's not a big job because the guts of it is done. So, it's going to be a glaze and a scumble job, so it is. There's a few things that I'm not keen about it. Right, so now. So let's get a beginning at least. Plenty of liquid on this because I want it to finish. I don't really want to cover up too much of what I've been doing. It's more of a bit of an orange today now. Let's work it out over on this side here. Nice orange that's going to be grayed. Out. Well, let me see. I think that is slightly heading towards the pinkish side of orange. Okay, now I'm leaving that white pile there just so I can lighten what I'm doing and see what I'm doing. A little bit of raw umber just to grey it a touch. Now I'm just testing how much is on the brush before I go ahead and put it in. So let me see. Maybe just check that. No, a bit bluer. And that blue will grey it out even further. A little bit of red. And I'm just checking this here. I think, let me see here. Yep, I think I am happier with that. So now that we have this, let's just thin it out a little bit and spread it over what we have here. Now, and another reason too is that I haven't got this filled in properly. It's too streaky for my legs. That's okay. Just a little bit bluer up in the corners here, in here. Not too blue either though, but just be careful. Alright. A little bit brighter as I'm moving towards the light here. Not to be too bright either. As you see, everything I'm doing here is a test. Just constantly testing. Now look at that, that's just wrong. There was too much on the brush, too much yellow on the brush. So, let me just work this in. That'd be nice up in the corner here. Just create a nice yellowish vignette for the corner there. Now let's fix this area up here. That's a bit better now, I think. Yep. Okay, now. Now I think I am feeling a little bit better about that. It has a bit more color to it. It's not as see-through. Okay, so let's just pull this down a bit here. Get a bit more into that. A little bit bluer. We'll see where this is now. A little bit more raw umber. I'm after a darkish color here. And it is just for this base along here. I'm just being a bit cautious now. I'm going to just check this. And it's dark, so I'll use this for the base of it. All right, and then that'll allow me now to come along and blend up into the sky with a nice lighter color of it. Let me see. Now I'm feeling a bit better. Yes, I am feeling a far bit better about this one actually. This wasn't sitting with me as I walked past it and kept looking at it. It just wasn't sitting with me. So I thought I would just fix that notion. All right, now that's pushed it right off into the distance. Now I'll work on the brighter part of the scan. All I'm going to do is scumble a glaze a white into it, maybe with a hint of yellow in it, but it's going to be a thin glaze, keeping away from the important things there. Yes, it's just to knock back that yellow tone. Maybe it needs to be a bit thicker than that. What I'll do is I'll put it on and I'll wipe it off. Now I'm just purposefully staying away from the edges here. Put it on and then wipe it off. That'll allow me to leave a good trace of it behind. Just dance the brush about as much as you can. That helps create some variance. Now, I'm just going to, you know what, I'm still having a wee look at this. It's not bad. What I think I'm going to do is just cut into the thing here a little bit. Let me just, see now at this point, I'm just playing. Yeah, I'm just playing with it here. So I'm trying to, I'm going to, because of this slightly wet up here, I'm putting a thicker version of this. There we go. I'll help blend that through. Now, I can just work that in with my finger. There we go. Nice. Oh, goodness me, I forgot about that. I forgot that I had changed the color on that brush. That's all right. Right, so a little bit of blue, a little bit of orange. Leaning towards the red. A nice grayish color with some burnt umber in it. Now, you don't want to be adding too much of anything. And we've got a green there, so we need some red to knock that back. Knock the pan out of that. And you want this to be a purpley violet. I'm just going to cut into the clouds here with it. You'll see what I'm trying to do in a mo or two. If I can get the right, there we go. If I can get the right tone going here. And the right color. Now, first thing I need to do is just wipe some off this brush. And then I'll add a whack of white to it. And let me see. That's a bit too dark. Okay. Let's just play with it. You can take my breath away. Trying to create the idea the clouds are breaking its way into this. Yep. I want to be a bit more purposeful. All right, now I am going to knock it back a touch. Just to slightly soften it, but I'm barely touching it. I want you to see it, but only just under the right light, and that will pop, properly pop. Now, just a bit of pure white, a little bit of liquid to help it dry, and then let me see, and I just put it right there, and then I will spread it out. I'm just still working with it. There, just there. Let's just work it out. Let that blend in. Still trying to keep the epicenter. Keep trying to keep the center of it. Just blending that out. See? Okay, now. For the time being, I'm going to leave that, and I'm going to work on the water now that I have lightened that a little bit. I'm going to lighten the water a little bit. Okay, so back to the orange again. Leaning towards the red. A little bit of blue, help gray it. Blue to help gray it, and then some white here. Now, I think that is a bit, I think we're there now. I thought it was a bit too blue, but let me just see here. Is that brighter? It isn't. It is a touch brighter, but I want it a little bit brighter than that still. Trying to keep this nice and greyish. So let me see here. Yeah, that's a bit, yep, okay, that's decent now. I'm going to be too cautious with this. I want it to look as if it's been scraped on, which it kind of is being scraped on. Right, yes. Now I'm going to thin it out and see what a glaze looks like with it. Allow that background to pop from it. So take a good bit of it off, and let us just see here. It should allow the background to pop, to come through it a little bit. Yeah, it does. And that's what it's doing. Just keeping it all going in this one direction. Okay. Let's just get it all filled in. And then, you know what? I won't do too much to this. Just take some of the strokes out. I'm barely touching the canvas here, folks. If you could feel this, it would be just a stroke. And that leaves a little bit of life in the water as well, in the sense, and what I mean by that is, hold on a wee second. This means that there's some texture in the water, but this blue area here, I'm going to lighten it a wee bit. Okay, I'll soften those edges. Yep. All right, now there's a ripple in this as well. It's kind of throwing off the light. So it is, you see, that ripple removes it there. Yeah, just let it be. Just let it be. It's a bit better. Okay. Now, just while I'm at it, may as well work in this area here. Let me see. No, too much. Not bright enough. So let's brighten it up. And then bring it over to here. And too dark? No, I think it's okay. A bit bluer though. Just a bit. And this is the stage of painting where the minuscule things matter. Where every little tick and flick, and your tones for this and your tones for that, this is where it matters. You might think sometimes it's trivial, but it really finishes the product, or the product. Oh my goodness, what a terrible way to think of it. Really finishes the piece of work. Adding these wee very, very fine details. Way to think of it. cut into this a little bit. But this is all nice and hazy off in the distance here. And then, just to create that differential there, and I think it needs to be a bit brighter still, just in there. And then we'll soften it up. More of a glazy scumbone action here. Yeah, okay, nice. Alright, now I'm just going to cut this guy into it a little bit, that's all. I'm wiping off what's on it, what's on the brush almost completely. And then I'm just going to put this into it to see. I just don't want it to be too dark. I don't want too much on the brush. Okay, that'll do me. I don't want to mess around with it too much. Now I am happy with that now. Okay, so I'm just thinking here, might as well, while I'm here, might as well work on this. I have it here, might as well use it. Let me see how dark that is. It's not really. Let's create some shapes in the water here. Okay, let's just put a tester down. Now that is dark, but I'm okay with it. Yeah, I'm alright with this now. Bit blur. All right, okay. Now I'm just going to work that in. I'm going to soften it now. Beauty of working on it when it's dry is how much it quickly soaks up the paint. And then it leaves you, it becomes quite malleable. Just a little bed of rocks here that I'm just going to signify, that's all. I'll put a little bit of rock in here. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. It's just the idea of it. Let me see here. That's kind of all I want. Just a little bit more darkness in it. Here, put it in with this. Where was it? There we go. And let me just put in some shades in here. Feeling that that's just a bit dark. Well, I'll work it in. There now. Barely noticeable, but you can't see it. I do think that that's a bit dark, so I'm just going to take the edge off it a little bit. Yeah. Oh, okay. Now, I hope I'm happy with the sky. And I'll glaze this area over here. I'll darken this area down here. I'll work on the rocks. I'll get this to glow a little bit. Get it to pop so that the light is shining on the land and around it here. I'm just going to wash this off a little bit. No, wrong brush. Wrong brush. There, that one will do. Right, so a nice warmish darkness in here. Or to do it, I'll do it here. So I'm going to add some oxide red, some black, actually quite a bit of black, and some blue. And a bit more red, just to warm it. And now it's remembering that this is a glaze, folks. And I don't know if you can see that. It'll be very hard for you to see this actually, because the tonal change is very small, not that much of a difference. Just staying away from that light source there. Nope. I'll just wipe it off down here because it's also going in here too. So. Now, what I'll do here is I'll just dab this off a little bit. Just rubbing it in, blending that through. Oops. To create a nice dark area in the back here. Now with me wetting this area around this will be easier to manipulate. So I'll just continue to work here. And pretty much the same thing. Put it on and wipe it off. That's all. Put it on. And let's just take this off. And it should leave enough remnants behind to darken the whole thing. All right, okay. Now we have a real poppy, contrasty thing going on. So I'm going to clean this brush off. I'm going to create a glow here, a nice orangey glow around these lights, and then I'll have a point of light in the middle of it. So a bit of glazing here. Now, hardly anything on the brush, just taking it, putting it on, taking it off, and it is a glaze now. So I want it nice and thin. And I probably want it a bit more red than that, yeah, a bit more orangey than that. Yep. Okay. A bit more still, actually, a bit more still. Now, I'm not in the slightest bit happy with that. So, if I can't glaze it, I'll paint it. Right, okay. Now it has left behind it a nice little glow. There we go. Just spreading out, emanating out. And then I'll put a light into it in a moment or two. But I want to match it here Let me just get this down here. This is right about here-ish. Right, a bit brighter than that. Now remember, I put a very dark glaze down. So it's informing what I'm putting down now. Okay, now. Yep. All right, so I probably would like that to be a little bit warmer. Well, maybe wait till it dries. And just now here, just the slightest of touch. Too much. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll warm this in a moment or two. I'm not even sure if I'll wait till it dries. And because it's water, it's allowed to have a shimmy to it. All right, okay. Although it is nice and bright, I must say, nice and bright. So that brightness now will affect the area around it. So not much on the brush, more of a glaze here, just to create the line coming down here. And I think that's too bright. Yes. A bit redder. I want a bit more heat in that one. And then as we're moving off into the distance here, it's going to be harder and harder to see because the light isn't affecting it so much. Okay, now, yeah, I think I'm just going to warm this up, but before I do so, I'm going to darken around the edges of this here. That's better. Feeling a bit better, yeah. Feeling a bit better about that. So let's just get this warmed up if I can do it at this stage. A really deep orange here. You see him down here. There we go. A bit better. A bit better. Yep, happy enough with this. Now I want to do a little bit in here just. But let me see here just. Is that a bit more yellow? I want the idea that there's a story going on in here. There's something happening up here. And you don't know what it is. But then your imagination helps tell you what's going on. Right. And just another bit of a reflection. And not much. It shouldn't be too much here. I'm just going to put it in and then knock it back a bit. And there we go. Now, struggling with the size of it now. I think it's too big. One minute I have it, and the next minute I don't. I just think it's a bit too large for what I want. So I'm going to really knock it down with this glaze, and that should help some of it pop through. Okay. Don't want it to, I want your mind to go to it, but I don't want it to be so large that it just, it's right there, you know. So, okay, I think I'm okay with this now, right? So, let's work on the surrounding area of it. In the surrounding area, these lights are going to be affecting the trees around it. So it's going to have really bright areas, very quickly receding to darker areas. Depending on how close you are to the light. Okay, now. Okay. Yep, it's all right now. This here, one here. Just going to put it in because it's right here. It's certain areas where it's a bit, and I think I've got it a bit too bright here. Yeah, that's all right. I can work it in. And I need to work that in. Okay, so I'll use my finger to begin with. Okay, now. I'm just going to darken the underside of it now. With this glaze. Okay. And have it bleed in a little bit just to create some variance. So it breaks it up a little bit. And these are definitely longer format videos here. And I think I'm going to put a Patreon up. Or at least I'm continually being advised to do so. I don't even know how it works. But I'm sure I could figure it out. I don't think it'll be that big a deal. Okay, I'm just going to work on the light area of this here. So a grey orange, a grey bright orange that is cooler and duller than this area because it's been filtered through the leaves. Let me see how bright this is. me just see now. Here we are. I think that's okay. It's just a little bit of the sky breaking through is all. Touch up here. Touch here. Just knock it out a wee bit. Oops. And just dulling it back a little bit. Let me see. I'm just going to soften it out a little bit. That'll do. That's good. I'll come into a little bit later, maybe with some twigs and sticks and whatnot. Which reminds me, let's put some on this area here. Now, a little bit darker than what I have down here for the sky hole, but not so dark. I want to be able to make a nice little twig just come off this. I'm going to need probably more paint than what I'm working with here at the minute, but we'll see. Maybe a different brush. I never keep my brushes well, so I don't quite bother it actually at times. Really wish it was a bit better. Because I have them all in one, like the small rigger brushes, I have them all in one jar, and I don't know which is the new ones. After a moment, I don't know which is the new ones and which is the older ones. And I think this is an older one. Then you see, better organization, eh, folks? Yeah, I think this is the newer one, or at least I'm hoping it's the newer one. It's not coming off the way I want it to come off. A little bit of spirits in it then. And then it comes off too much. Yeah, well. Okay. It's just the details. It's up to you how much you want to put in. Sometimes I like a load of detail. Other times I just couldn't be bothered with it. Simple as that. Alright. For the time being, it'll be fine. Now, there is one aspect here that I want to just work on. And it's this tree here. Real light gray up in here, just as it's popping through the sky. I'm going to use just a pointed round here, just an ordinary pointed round. Now I've got the grey here. There's plenty of orange, a little bit of green. sorry, a little bit of cerulean there, and then a bit of white. Now I want to be cautious here, because I want this to show up, but I don't want it to be too dark. I'm just thinking now, folks. The way a pine tree works is just the way it steps down a bit. A little bit here, a little bit there. A little bit there, a little bit here. Maybe a bit darker. Maybe a bit darker still. Now, where did I lay that down? Is that it there? That is, a little bit darker. Just let the edges be. There we go. Okay, now we have that going off into the distance. What I want to do with the edges here is just soften them down with what I've created here. Just lightening that up a little bit. Along here, just creating these edges. Oh, look at that now. Too much. So let's come back a bit. Just softening that up a bit, making it a bit hazy. Moving in. Right now. Pop, 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 pop. I'm just going to put in this branching coming in here just to cut this up a little bit. Oops, daisy, I went right over there. Goodness gracious me, I just undone that. Ah, goodness grief. Right, back to where I was there. So I'll just use what I've got down. And that'll be okay. And that'll be the skylight. So just gently this time, gently this time. All right, okay. Now where's my little, there we go, my little darker brush, just for a bit of a darker green here. Cover your mistakes up, isn't that right, folks? Right? There we go. I've done it now. Right, so I think apart from the boat, this down here to work on, which is not very much, and then the rocks here, and then I should be begin focusing on the boat. But I'm just taking a wee stand back to see what this is like. I think what I'll tackle now is these rocks. Okay, now. So now, I already have a lot of it here. A lot of the colour and the glazing here. So, I think I'm just going to use it. Rocks can have nice flat surfaces. Okay. I want to change it up a bit too. I don't want it all to be the same. Now the change that you'll see me very little. But if you get up close, you will see the difference. It's a bit greener now, so it is. A nice flat rock, just here. You ever watch that channel on YouTube? What's the bird called? Apollo? Rock. Metal. Glass. Anyway. All I'm doing here is just signifying the rocks. You know what that is. You don't need me to tell you. Now, as I'm coming off to here, it should be a bit darker, so I'm just going to knock this one back a bit. I've used a cloth to do this one. Okay, just receding a little bit. Let's work on this area down here. There's not much to do here. I just want to brighten it up a bit now. Where's my wee scumbling brush? Where did you go? There you go. Now all this is just a small filbert. I was using it earlier. Just a small filbert. I want to make sure it's clean because I'm going right into an area here. It needs to be clean. I forgot the ripples are going into the water, so it'll be, once I get all this done, then I'll work on the boat. I'm not quite there yet. I'm still a good... Can't forget these about the reflections, folks. Can't forget the reflections. It's important. Now, because the reflections, they're just going to be blurred out. And then meet the bits here that will make it better. Okay, so let's just really soften this up a bit. There we go. Right, so trying to make sure this brush is properly clean. In fact, it's not, and I'm finding it hard to clean it, so I'm just going to use another one. And just ordinary wee filbert, that's all. Nothing special about it. So here we have our orange. And let me see, what color am I after here now? Leaning towards the red, I think it'll do, and somewhat saturated. So I think I'm just going to add some white to this and scumble it in. Let me see. Too bright? No, it's fine. That's okay. It's okay. You hear the way that scumbling works? You're just scraping it into the canvas. That's all I'm doing. Now this is wet. Some of this around here is wet, so I'm just being cautious and remembering that it's wet. I'm staying away from the edges. I think I might be moving into the area of painting it in a minute. What did I hear? It is there. Right, okay. Now we're coming into the center of it. And I want it a bit brighter in the center of it. This is where it's shining directly down, just in there. And then let's just work this through. Don't be too, I'm not going to be too careful with it. Just going to knock the edges back and have a bit of a reflection of it just. Let me get this brush and just soften this out. Barely touching the canvas. Now I need to consider the edges here. Right, so I'll just use this. There's my grey, my orangey grey. Let me see where we are here. Look at that, that's good much. Good much, just brightening it is all. As I move down towards it here. I'm trying to to not get too close to it just yet, because it's all going to start to come together. Just standing around the edges. And now I'm going to come down into it. And that should all blend together. Just working this through. Okay. I really want to knock this back. Here. Yep. Okay, now I'm getting happy with this now. And just work this around. Let it fade off into it. There we go. Now what I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to take a little step back and see where I am with this. And next thing will be to work on these reflections, then get the ripples in the water, and we'll see. So I'll be back in a sec, just having a wee look.